you mean you ain't got nowhere to park? What? I need to pull out of the way? Alright. Is that out of your way? Hey, welcome back to Gardening Rebel, and today we're down here in the garden for a quick peek of what's going on. We've not had any rain here in the last couple of weeks, and everything's kind of getting dry. We are expecting some this weekend, so your plants will look a little wilted, kind of like flat. See how limp they are, kind of like an old man without Viagra. The blooms are just hanging. But in the evening time when it cools down, these things will perk right back up, so don't lose hope. They're not dead. They're just kind of in a dehydrated state, just like you and I would be. As soon as the night comes up, they perk up. As soon as the rain comes in, they get really perky. You can tell by some of the cabbage leaves when they're out in the sun like this, it just kind of takes the energy out of them. It saps them. But there's going to be a nice head of cabbage. Look at that. Beautiful. Some of them's not doing too well. Excuse me. Those are the ones that we got free. So if we lose them, we haven't really lost a lot. Now, one more point I would like to make out. One more point I would like to make out while I'm turning you around is about your compost pile. Okay. One of the ways I test my compost before I put it on my garden is I will plant something inside of it. If it germinates, it's not too hot. If it doesn't, then it needs to sit a little bit longer. And I do this the year before. Well, this year I dropped some seeds down where I dumped the rest of my compost out of that truck bed. And as you can tell, I had the right mixture. So if you're using animal manure, cow manure, horse manure, chicken litter, goat, rabbit, whatever, check its nitrogen content. Don't put it on your garden that year. I like to let mine sit for at least, I'll go pick up another load here in a couple months, pile it up, add the leaves to it, food scraps, a little bit of lime, kind of mix it up over the winter time, let it set, let it go through the early spring rains, winter rains, and it kind of leaches some of the, let's say some of the nitrogen out of it. It makes it a little bit weak, I know, but it calms it down for your plants. And simply to test it, drop you a seed in there, and if it doesn't come up in early springtime, it may be a little bit too hot to use. I'm just saying, I've learned from my mistakes by doing that. Also, now, I think it was 2 videos ago, I got a mosquito buzzing around me like crazy. 2 videos ago, I showed you some, I'm thinking brandywines that a buddy of mine had gave me. And I told you I didn't know if they were going to make it or not, that we were going to plant them anyway and see how they do. Well, I should have took some pictures of these little guys, because they are really starting to catch up. And I had a viewer the other day say something about my tomato vines. Well, he called them tomato plants. Did not have a lot of blooms on them. Well, you know, mine do have blooms. It's just they're not bloomed out. These are relatively young tomato plants. I don't know if maybe this is the first time you've ever viewed my video. But these tomato plants were put out, I want to say 5, almost 6 weeks ago. So for 6-week plants in the ground, I don't think they're doing too bad. We're starting to get the signs of a lot of blooms coming on. These are the better bush. We've got little tomatoes already forming up. So just because you're not noticing a lot of blooms on videos does not mean that I do not have a lot of blooms. These tomato plants right here are just full. And we're just trying some different stuff this year. And I think it's going to work out for us. Now, I want you to look at this tomato plant right here. See the difference in it and these? All right, see the number of blooms it's got on it? Compared to these down through here. Okay, now this is something that I've done secretly. This was my Epsom salt test. And I don't know, I've heard everybody say, oh, it's going to make it darker green, and I'm not doubting it didn't. It did in your garden. But in mine, it didn't. It just made it a lighter. It doesn't even look like the same tomato plant variety, and it's the exact same thing. I don't know if you can tell the difference on the video or not, but standing in front of it, this looks like a really, really dark green. That's a really light green. So, I'm not passing judgment on people that use Epsom salt. It's just, this is what I see. I see a difference in color. I don't see a difference in blooms. I don't see a difference in health. So we'll just keep looking at it and making sure that, you know, I don't know what to say. I can't tell a real big difference. So anyhow, that's for the tomatoes and the look. And I think we've actually got some cucumbers blooming right now. Or not cucumbers, but cantaloupe. The first cantaloupe bloom of 2017. They're coming on. That's an ambrosia cantaloupe. One of the best tasting cantaloupes you can possibly ever get in your lifetime. And I've got to get over here and weed out my tomatoes. I want you to look at something though. Look at how big and thick those stalks are. They are some thick, thick stalks. And we're going to have a pretty good year of tomatoes, I hope, if the drought doesn't kick in and interfere with the growing season. That's my only fear. But anyhow, that's it for the garden. However, I'm going to take a slight break. I've got to go over here. There is a subscriber who has an issue with some grape trellises, and I'm going to describe and show her how we done ours so I could mow up and under them, and I could expand my line of grapes as my plants matured, and I wanted to put more and stage them throughout their lifetime. That way I could always keep something growing in that area from that variety. So if y'all bear with me a minute, Homestead Tessie, I'm fixing to go over here and do the little quick update on the grape vines, and I'll be right back. I don't know. How rednecks park. All right. Here we go with the grape trellis. Okay, as you can tell on one end, oh, sorry about dropping my camera. We've got the 4x4. And what we've done is we got a small gauge metal cable, like a dog runner. You can pick this up at a lot of hardware stores that sell chain and cable. Now I drilled a hole all the way through it. All the way through the 4x4. Now the reason I've got it wound up around the post is because there's not a lot of tension on it. These are very young grapevines, 2 years old. They come from Isom's nursery down below Atlanta. These are actually Scuffy dimes, Darlene Bronze, Coart, Early Fry, and I can't remember the name of the other ones. And as you can tell, I need to come out here and work with them. start getting them trained up. The other ones behind the house are they're the same age, but they have grown a lot more. These I got put out late in the year. Now the idea of this trellis is I can mow under it. I can walk straight under it, but yet I can mow and do what I need to do. Even when my grapevines reach this. This is 6 foot tall. And when the vines start getting heavy, as you can tell, I don't have the post in the ground really steady. The reason for that is with the extra wire that I've got stretched out or wrapped around it, I'll stretch it out at an angle and I will put an anchor in the ground. It could be a piece of rebar, ground rod, something of that nature, and I will hook the excess cable on it like a guide wire on a telephone pole. So if this post rots or gets broke, I can replace it because my wire will not be attached to it. Drill a hole, undo the anchor part from the ground, stand my 4x4, the new one, this way, attach the cable through it and run it right back down. I'll just have to have something holding this tension up until I replace the post. But that's how I've done my trellises, because it's easy, very cost effective, and I actually stuck a turnbuckle on this one. So when I get that end down there in the ground, I can undo this, put it on my hook, and tighten it up until it's tight enough for my liking. All right, well, it's Friday afternoon. We're going to do some garden work this weekend and some bee work and just kind of hang around the house and enjoy it. So y'all have a great weekend. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Leave us a comment, hit like. The comments I try to get back into or in touch with you as soon as possible, and I try my best, I really do. So if it takes me a few days to get to you, I'm sorry, something's happening or going on. Other than that, y'all have a great weekend. It's been a pleasure. I'll meet y'all back down at the garden spot next time. Thank you.